Military relic of the Russia-England War, Crimean 1853–1856. The subject of attribution is defined and dated 1844. The coat of arms on the item refers to a previous image of the coat of arms than the one used to this day in the UK, and was modified by Her Majesty Queen Mother Victoria in subsequent years. The object clearly refers to personal property, a utilitarian thing used in everyday life. All porcelain products of that period of time had the manufacturer's marking, except those that were ordered and intended for the court of Her Majesty Queen Mother Victoria. The Institute of the Royal Warrant, the supplier of the court, was established in the same year 1844. The association, a community of manufacturers of high-class items goods, received permission from Queen Mother Victoria to put their brand on their goods next to the royal coat of arms, to promote English luxury goods. In the same year, 1844, the Royal Stock Exchange was opened in the city. It is also depicted on the sample understudy, which again indicates 1844. In commemoration of this event, Her Majesty Queen Mother Victoria was presented with a service depicting the Royal Stock Exchange. During the same period, the future royal residence Buckingham Palace underwent renovation and reconstruction for the residence of the royal family with the necessary staff for work. During the relocation of household items to the new royal residence Buckingham Palace, some fragile porcelain items were damaged, which were written off from the balance of the crown property as lost. Restoration of porcelain at that time was not mandatory for utilitarian things. During the attribution, it turned out that similar items had not been exhibited during the entire existence of auctions, including Christie's and Sotheby's. Conclusion: the set of succinctly stated facts confirms that this subject is a historical and artistic monument of Great Britain. The change of the coat of arms of Great Britain, the opening of the royal residence Buckingham Palace, the opening of the Royal Stock Exchange in the city, the establishment of the Institute Royal Warrant, the very fact of the 180-year life of royal porcelain, which in itself is an event, merged in one subject. The significance of finding this example of high English art in porcelain, and the presence of this object on the table of Her Majesty Queen Mother Victoria, and their possible contact makes this subject both unique and one of a kind. Even its small chip speaks of its authenticity and as a photographic image carries the same historical episode. Well, its appearance and attribution in Russia is just a miracle, explained by historical facts. The appearance of this unique item, the most important for our English and Russian history, is directly connected with the military triumph of the Russian army in the Crimean War of 1853–1856. The siege and capture of the fortress of Kars on September 17, 1855, and the active participation of the 69 Infantry Regiment, the arrest of the command and garrison of the fortress of Kars, is the largest victory in the Crimean War after the Sevastopol defeat. Subsequently, the fortress of Kars was exchanged for Sevastopol following the Peace of Paris. 25,000 Russian army under the command of N. Muravyov besieged Kars for 5 months. The garrison of the fortress is 17,000 people. On September 17, 1855, the 1st platoon of the 69 Ryazan Infantry Regiment accepted the surrender of the fortress. 2 commanders-in-chief, General of the Turkish Army and aristocrat Sir William Williams, we will return to him later, 12 pashas, 665 officers, 136 guns, 27,000 guns, 12 large banners, and a total of 60. It was William Williams who brought this plate to Kars, where the dexterous soldiers of the Ryazan Infantry Regiment received it as a military trophy. The fragility of the item requires careful packaging during transportation, and in the taken Kars with its many trophies of the army and personal items, a favorable atmosphere has developed that promotes sorting, packing and sending home trophies. This was what the glorious braves of the 69 Ryazan Infantry Regiment used. The award lists of that military campaign have preserved their names, each of which is worthy of our admiration for the courage of the defenders of the motherland. A descendant of one of these heroes of the capture of the fortress of Kars and gave me this, then forgotten by everyone, glorious thing, combining the deepest history of various processes and events related to this plate of English porcelain from the table of the English Queen, who came to us in the city of Ryazan as a magnificent military trophy and witness to the power of the Russian army in the Crimean War 1853–1856, 2008–2022. P.S. William Williams spent a year in captivity in Ryazan until he was redeemed. William Fenwick Williams, 1st Baronet of Kars, was born in Annapolis, Nova Scotia, Canada, on December 4, 1800. The second son of Quartermaster General Thomas Williams. He joined the Royal Artillery as a second lieutenant in 1825. From 1841 he was in Turkey as a military advisor, worked at the Constantinople Arsenal. In 1847 to 1848, he was the British Commissioner in Erzurum and worked in the Commission for the Settlement of the Turkish-Persian Border. Awarded the Order of the Bath. Williams at the surrender of Kars. Hood. Thomas J. Barker promoted to Colonel, Williams was a British commissar in the Anatolian Army. With the beginning of the Eastern War, he formally transferred to the Turkish service with the rank of Farik, Major General, and during the siege of Kars by Russian troops commanded the defense of the fortress. Cold, cholera, hunger and lack of outside help forced Williams to capitulate on November 28, 1855. Transported as a prisoner of war first to Tiflis and then to Ryazan, Williams was released in 1856 and went home. Upon his return to the UK, William was promoted to Major General and elected Member of Parliament for the Caen constituency. For his distinction in the defence of Kars, he was awarded the Grand Cross of the Order of the Bath, the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honour and the Turkish Order of the Medjidi First Degree. He was also awarded an honorary doctorate from Oxford University and given the title of Baronet of Kars. From 1859 to 1864, he served as Commander-in-Chief of troops in North America. In 1864, Williams received the rank of Lieutenant General and the post of Chief of the Royal Artillery. From 1865 he served as Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia. From 1870 he was Governor of Gibraltar. In 1871 he was awarded the Grand Cross of the Order of the Bath and in 1881 was Constable of the Tower. William Fenwick Williams, 1st Baronet of Kars, died in London on July 26, 1883. P.S. Sincerely, researcher of the history of precious stones, independent expert Constant Pilyugin. Appeal to colleagues and people who are not indifferent to the development of progress and looking up. I ask you to provide financial assistance for the creation and equipment. Laboratory Academy semantic attribution according to the specified parameters. Silence app.